Straight from Mississippi, Brett Favre, 20 seasons in the National Football League.
Hey, let's score every drive. We got to think that way. We really got to think that way.
He flipped it into the end zone, backhand.
Brett Favre is something else.
3-time MVP and 11-time Pro Bowler, and he retired as the owner of every major career passing record. He is now a member of the NFL 100 all-time team. Good to see you, Brett Favre.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, thanks for being here. Appreciate that. When did you guys first meet? Do you remember that?
I think we actually talked. It was on a preseason. I think it was preseason game in Green Bay. I think. But he.
Would you remember, Tom?
Yep.
Am I right?
That was 05, 06. 2006 we played in the preseason. But we played you one other time before that, which you killed us in 2002 in the rain game.
Yeah, that was bad.
1 out of 15 ain't bad.
They weren't having a great year, and it's a quick story, but they showed their inactive list, and I think every corner on their roster was inactive, so they signed a bunch of guys on the street. So I was so excited, and Brett came in, and I just remember him running around, unbuckling his chin strap and throwing touchdown passes.
Favre is just right on the money. Favre play action, pump fakes once, throws the left side of the end zone, leaping attempt made. Touchdown! Back line of the end zone, Bubba Franks. Wow.
Well, Brett, I mean, what does it mean for you? Obviously, you thought you probably were done with all the accolades that you could ever have in your career or life about being named one of the 100 members of this team.
Yeah, you know, I'm extremely honored. When I was a little kid, I wanted to play pro football. I wanted to be Roger Staubach. I loved Roger. That's who I looked up to. He's my favorite player, and he's still my guy. And to be able to do exactly what I wanted to do and do it for so long and to have accomplished so much at one time, maybe not so much now, have all the passing records. I mean, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. And I think for me, you know, when I was a kid, we only got 2 channels, you know, so you didn't have NFL Films, you didn't have NFL Network, I couldn't watch everybody. So if Dallas was not a regional, I had to watch the Saints. And I loved Archie Manning, but they were horrible. But he was a bright spot. My deal was Roger Staubach and Archie Manning. I never thought about Pro Bowls, never thought about MVPs. I envisioned what it would be like to run out on the field for a Super Bowl and how cool that would be. And so I got to live that. Everything that has come after has been like, are you kidding me? It wasn't like I'm waiting for, well, when are they going to retire my number? Just playing and being able to be Roger Staubach or to be Archie Manning is enough. And I mean that with all honesty.
I really do believe you're the one player out of all that I've played against or met that if all of a sudden nobody got paid to play football, you still would have played.
I would have.
You would have played.
I would have.
And some of the things that you did on the field are still a little mind-boggling. I mean,
good and bad.
Good and bad, I'll give you that. But throwing with your feet off the ground more often than not, can you possibly explain to me, Tom, I'm sure every fundamental coach you ever had is like, this won't work. You can't play quarterback like that. How did that happen?
You know, honestly, by accident. My dad was my coach, and he was old school. Rather than do 7-on-7, we did Oklahoma drill. You know, if I were to ever say, Dad, you know, maybe we should look at throwing. He'd say, I'm coaching the team. You do what I tell you, and so be it. We never worked on fundamentals. As a high school senior, I could throw it 75 yards, but, you know, when teams would come in, colleges and the recruiting coach would come in, he would say, Coach Favre, I want to see your son throw. And he goes, well, you better come and watch pregame. And I'm being honest, because we ran the wishbone and the wing tee. And so I guess what I'm getting at is we never worked on fundamentals and footwork. I didn't know what reading, flat defender on a curl drag, a high-low, that stuff. When I got to college, I'll never forget when I became the starter as a freshman. We ran the I formation, we ran option, tall sweep, and we would sprint out. There was never any, all right, we're going to read the weak side defender or this. But I said, if they blitz, what do I do? And my coach very seriously looked at me and said, you make something happen. And I went, I like that. And that's kind of the way I played.
Favre came off the bench and led the Golden Eagles in a comeback victory in his varsity debut.
Yeah, I didn't know how good I was. I didn't know how bad I was. I just knew that I was going to do all I could. And at times, maybe it looked bad, but I was going to come right back. I was resilient. And I think, you know, it's just kind of how I played. I don't know what else to say.
I got to tell you, you're going to hate me for bringing this up. The playoff game, you threw 6 interceptions. Probably made the biggest impression on me of any game I'd ever seen you play.
Favre play action, unloads, near slide, and Aeneas Williams has got it. There's Favre back. Has it picked off. Favre has the ball deflected and intercepted. And bad just got worse for the Green Bay Packers.
I'm sorry. I really am. I'm sorry. But it didn't matter that you would have thrown 15 interceptions. Most people, they get a certain number. It's like, okay, we're going to check it down. Let's get out of this game, whatever. You always thought you were going to win the game, didn't you?
I did. You know, and it's funny because that game, after the 4th one, I know.
Belichick loves it.
I go to the sidelines, and Mike Sherman says, I think I'm just going to take you out. And I said, if I throw 2 more, I'll break a record.
Did you really say that?
Yeah.
What did you say back?
Go on. Go ahead. Not that I wanted to break the record, but hell, come this far.
Let's win. You still thought you were going to win.
I could have thrown check downs and check downs and check downs, and there's probably times in my career I probably should have. I
Super Bowl against New England would have been nice. You thrown a couple check downs instead of those.
I was coaching against you. Tell us about prepping for Brett.
Well, first of all, there's not many people in the NFL that can say they passed on Brett twice. Twice in the '91 draft, I passed on you. So how bad is that?
But you know what, Bill? It worked out okay.
Well, a decade later, yeah.
Yeah, but you know.
See, I knew I could get Tom around 199.
It's cagey. It's cagey.
Well, just what you said, Chris. Brett was impossible to prepare for because you didn't know what he was going to do. I mean, post, check downs, scramble, extend plays. Everybody was alive. Everybody was at the point of attack, and every receiver was the primary receiver. And it could happen sooner in the play, later in the play. He was really tough to prepare for, but he killed us in Super Bowl.
It was a good game. I tell you that the play that is talked about the most
is a kickoff return.
Well, not
from a quarterback.
It's the first play of the game.
Yeah.
You know, Bill obviously is the ultimate schemer, and you know you really have to prepare hard. That being said, in '96, I was probably the furthest thing from a schemer and strategist, and I just kind of was like, hey, whatever.
Now, are you all right?
Yeah.
No more rocket balls, please.
Well, I was teamed up.
No, I know.
We had worked very minimally on all-out blitz checks. That's not his MO. He wants his guys to know exactly what to do first. Don't outsmart yourselves. That's kind of the way I look at Bill and how he coaches. We're going to know what to do. Yeah. And then we'll figure out if we're going to, disguise and do all this stuff later. But you're going to know what to do. So you're not going to outsmart them. So I walk up to the line, and we hadn't worked on a zero blitz, potentially an all-out, more than you can block type of.
No free safety in the middle
No
of the
free
field.
safety. And all week long, sitting in the hotel, and you watch the replays.
And Super Bowl 24 about to get underway.
And they keep showing Joe Montana checking to 59 Razor.
Black 59 Razor! Black 59 Razor! 39 7.
And I thought to myself, man, you know how cool it would be in New Orleans if I'm being 100% honest, how cool it would be if I could check to Razor and hit a touchdown in this game. But I quickly was like, well, they don't blitz. Lo and behold, I said, this kind of looks like maybe something's coming. I'm like, nah. But I had, you don't have all day to make this decision. And so I checked to it.
2nd down and 9. Brett Favre appears to be changing plays at the line of scrimmage.
He's got time. He's throwing it downfield.
He's got him.
Wide open. It is going to be a touchdown to Andre Rison.
You know, I'm running around with my helmet off, and some people may say, well, look, he's trying to, you know, it's all about me. What I was excited about was, can you believe that this actually worked?
And Rison got the check.
Yeah. And Rison got the check, who had been here 3 weeks.
And that's the story of why Bill Belichick's boat is called 8 rings and not 9 rings.
Yeah.
That's right.
I want you in just 10 or 12 words to say the first thing that comes into your mind, but without mentioning their names.
Brett Favre.
You know, so many quarterbacks at that time were CEOs. They knew that, in essence, they always had to say the right thing. They had to play the game. They had to put their suit and tie on after the game and stand in front of the cameras. And Favre just didn't care about that. He always felt like, I'm just going to be me.
Marty, scratch right behind my shoulder pad. This side? Oh, right back here. Up, right there. Oh, yeah.
He just is who he is. He's a Southern boy from Kiln, Mississippi.
And we got a dandy brewing.
Who loves playing football, and he's a funny guy.
Hey, you got any left-handed footballs? I got some advice for y'all. Take 2 weeks off, then quit. Okay.
He's the type of guy that anybody would love to sit down and have a beer with.
Put her in the old vice. Keith Jackson. Just the other morning, I had breakfast at Tracy Rocca's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I got to stay hungry for the Crimson Tide. Man, them are some tight pants you got on, Bubba. TJ's all waist, no legs. Look at him. Looks like an ostrich. Look at Snyder. He looks like the hunchback from Notre Dame with that quasi-white shoes moto. There's Mr. Miyagi up there on the team on the board. Oh, yeah. Wax on, wax off. How you doing?
You thought I was taller than this, huh?
I thought you were taller than me. Hey, how about Mr. Miyagi coming up talking to me? My head's getting bigger. These hats are getting smaller. Shut up. You know what time the game starts?
He regularly fell asleep in team meetings, farted his way through team meetings.
You think God never farted?
He drove Steve Mariucci, his quarterback coach, crazy because he'd have to get up and he'd have to open the door and fumigate the room at times because of Favre.
I got some cheeseburgers at half, too. Where are they? In my locker, I'm gonna grab them.
We didn't get a whole lot done in those meeting rooms. Most of the time, it was listening to Brett tell stories about whatever. Nobody can tell a story like Brett Favre.
My first game ever, 3 touchdowns running. I got in the end zone, the guy pulled my pants down.
A lot of pranks, a lot of jokes. He laughed a lot. Listen, I played 19 years in the NFL. In those 2 years with the Green Bay Packers, I think I laughed more and was more entertained during that time than I was the other 17 years of my career.
Let's have a little fun today.
He loved to be mic'd up on game days.
I don't know why we come out so early and just stand around here and do this.
He is so relaxed before games.
What a waste.
It was just who he was.
I'm sitting here just goofing off.
Brett Favre comes onto the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field in what appears to be the last ball game of his illustrious career.
He's the funniest guy on the team.
What do you think Mike would do if he knew I had a dip right now?
You have one there?
Just ain't the ice capades. Hey, good job. Cliffy, you too. Way to overcome your coaching. You know what, Andy? I love you, man.
Love to play the game, and would have just played it in the parking lot at McDonald's if you'd allowed him to do that.
There was an innocence to the way Brett played the game. It wasn't necessarily a business, it was still just a game of football.
Favre steps up in the pocket, he flips it into the end zone, touchdown Green Bay.
Just the way they drew it up, huh, fellas?
You didn't have to be out there with a scowl on your face.
Brett was like a little kid playing this man's game. And his whole presence on the sideline, the way he interacted with his teammates and coaches and even the opposition, it felt like he was just out there just having a good old time, being the gunslinger he was.
I describe him as a guy who threw more touchdown passes than anybody in history at the time he retired and celebrated everyone like a high school kid throwing his very first one.
He's like a prankster and a jokester, and then he just throw for 5 touchdowns. You know, he's like easygoing, but like always seemed to be having fun.
One thing you have to like about Brett Favre,
He looks like he's just playing out in the playground or something. He has nothing to throw to, so he just drops a little brother, goes back, and then says, oh, what the heck, I'll find him.
I think that's the way he plays the game, like it's a playground.
Goes back to the left. He can run. No, he's still with the ball, and he is caught from behind, got away. Still, throws a touchdown. Holy cow. What a play by Brett Favre. He shoveled the ball forward as he was going down.
That youthful enthusiasm that he had, it made every little kid that played be able to identify with the excitement that he had when he threw a touchdown pass and when his team won.
When Brett Favre played in that Super Bowl, you saw how excited he was. I mean, when he takes his helmet off and he runs after he throws the touchdown, it's just his love for the game and how, big that moment was, and you worked for your whole life, and that's what makes football amazing. People believe in you, they root for you, and before long, you almost know those people.
You want to call it?
Yeah, y'all want the ball?
Let's see. Best 2 out of 3. That's 1. Uh-oh. Dang it, you called.
Welcome to Open, where the overriding story took place yesterday afternoon in Mississippi when Brett Favre's father, Irv, died.
No one wants to play after losing your dad, but I knew I had to play because that's what, no doubt whatsoever, he would have wanted me to do.
I have no idea how Brett Favre is going to do it.
I was the most nervous I've ever been in a game. I was so worried that I would lay an egg. And I think people watching would say, hey, it's understandable, his father just passed away. I didn't want that. I wanted to play better than I'd ever played before.
Favre takes, looks to throw, guns the left side of the end zone. Touchdown, Green Bay! Favre fakes the handoff, bootlegs right, throws the right side of the end zone. Got Walker, touchdown!
I played in a half better than I'd played in a full game ever in my career.
America's most well-known number 4 has thrown for 4 touchdown passes in one half of play.
If there was ever divine intervention, he was there that night.
Packers fans, as we get this game started, please welcome today's special guests, the First Lady of Packers football, Cherry Star, who is being escorted by Brett Favre.